If your dead friend ever texts you at 2:03 a.m., don't read it. Because the moment you do, it knows you're still listening. The first message came 13 days after Mason Hale was buried. I remember the exact time because I hadn't been sleeping properly since his funeral. My nights were broken into short, restless stretches, always ending the same way, with me staring at my phone, replaying the last thing he ever sent me. That night, I finally passed out around midnight. At 2:03 a.m., my phone buzzed. Just once. That was enough. I opened my eyes slowly, already annoyed. Half asleep, I reached for the phone on my nightstand, expecting some random notification. Then I saw the name. Mason Hale. My chest tightened instantly. For a second, my brain refused to process it. It just didn't make sense. Mason was dead. I had stood beside his coffin. I had watched them lower it into the ground. Still, my thumb moved on its own. I opened the message. Why didn't you pick up? The room went completely silent. Not quiet, silent. Like something had just entered the space and swallowed every sound. I sat up slowly, staring at the screen. My first thought was simple. Someone was messing with me. That had to be it. I typed back, "Who is this?" The reply came instantly. "You know who I am." My throat went dry. The typing dots appeared again, disappeared, then came back. Then another message. "I waited for you that night." That hit me hard, because nobody knew about that. Nobody knew Mason had called me before he died. The first call came at 11:31 p.m. I remember because I almost answered. I was lying on my couch in my Chicago apartment, half asleep, half working, staring at my laptop. His name popped up on my phone. I saw it. I ignored it. A few seconds later, he texted, "Pick up, please." I rolled my eyes back then. Mason had always been dramatic. Late-night calls, random plans, stupid ideas. I typed, "Busy, call later." He replied immediately, "Ethan, I'm serious." I didn't answer. That was the last message I ever got from him. At 1:17 a.m., his younger brother Caleb called me, crying so hard I could barely understand him. Mason was dead. Single car crash, empty road, no witnesses. Now, 13 days later, his phone was texting me again. I stared at the screen. Then I pressed call. The line rang once, twice, then silence. No disconnect, no voicemail, just nothing. Then my phone vibrated again. "Don't call, he can hear it." A cold feeling crawled up my spine. I typed, "Who?" The reply came slower this time, like whoever or whatever was typing was thinking, watching. Then the message appeared. "The man in the wall." I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was insane. "This is stupid," I muttered. I got out of bed, turned on the lights, walked around the apartment just to prove to myself everything was normal. Kitchen, empty. Living room, empty. Bathroom, empty. I came back into my bedroom, shaking my head. "Yeah, real funny," I said out loud. Then, knock. It came from behind me, from the wall. Knock. Slow, deliberate, right behind my bed. I turned slowly, heart starting to race. The wall looked normal. Paint, no cracks, nothing unusual. Then, knock, knock, knock. 3 times, from inside the wall. I stepped back so fast I hit the dresser. "No," I whispered. Another vibration. My phone. I looked down. Don't let it know you're alone. My breathing got heavier. I looked back at the wall, and that's when I saw it. A handprint pressed into the paint from the inside. The fingers pushed outward like something behind the wall was trying to force its way through. The fingers were too long, too thin, and they were moving, slowly, dragging downward, leaving behind a dark smear. I ran. I didn't think, didn't grab anything. I just ran out of the room, into the living room, turned on every light, and stayed there until sunrise. By morning, the wall was normal again. No handprint, no marks, nothing. That should have made me feel better. It didn't, because my phone still had the messages, and Mason was still dead. By noon, I was driving back to Cedar Rapids. I told myself I needed answers, but the truth was simpler. I couldn't stay in that apartment another night knowing something had knocked from inside the wall. Mason's house looked the same, too normal. That was the worst part. Caleb opened the door and stared at me. "You look like hell," he said. "I need to ask you something," I replied. He hesitated, then stepped aside. "Come in." Upstairs in Mason's room, everything was untouched. Bed made, clothes folded, like he might walk back in any second. Caleb pulled out a notebook from under the bed. "I found this after, he said. I opened it. At first, it was normal. Random notes, numbers. Then the handwriting changed, messy, shaking, pressed hard into the paper. It knocks at night. Next page, there's something in the wall. Next page, it knows Ethan. My heart stopped. I flipped to the last page. Only one line was written. If he answers, maybe it won't need me anymore. My phone buzzed in my hand. A new message. Don't let Caleb come with you. Then another. It's waiting at Weller House. And that's when I realized something worse than fear, something worse than ghosts. This wasn't random. This wasn't grief. This had been waiting for years. I hadn't heard the name Weller House in years, but the moment I read that message, it came rushing back like something my mind had been trying to bury. A broken house on the edge of town, boarded windows, rotting wood, and a story people told just to scare kids, that something lived inside its walls. "Weller House?" Caleb asked. I hadn't realized I said it out loud. "You remember it?" I asked. He nodded slowly. "Everyone does. Why?" I hesitated, then shook my head. "It's nothing." "That doesn't sound like nothing," he said. I looked at Mason's notebook again. "It knows Ethan." That line felt heavier now, more personal, like something had been watching me long before Mason died. "I'm going there," I said. Caleb grabbed my arm instantly. "Then I'm coming." "No." "Why not?" Because the messages had warned me, because I didn't trust anything anymore, because if this thing had already taken Mason, I wasn't about to let it take his brother too. But I didn't say that. Instead, I said, "Because if something happens to you, I can't handle that." He let go slowly, but his eyes said he didn't agree. "If you don't come back," he said quietly, "I'm calling the police." Weller House looked worse than I remembered. The sky had turned gray by the time I got there, and the entire place felt wrong. Not abandoned, not empty, just waiting. The front door was slightly open. I was sure it hadn't been like that before. My phone buzzed. "You still have time to leave." I stared at the message. Then another one came. "But if you leave, it comes back with you." That was enough. I pushed the door open. The smell hit me first. Mold, wet wood, and something sweet, like something rotting slowly. My flashlight cut through the darkness. The floor creaked under every step. Then I saw them. Footprints, fresh, leading toward the stairs. My chest tightened. I followed them. Halfway up the stairs, buzz. I froze. "Don't say my name in here." Another message. "It listens when you speak." I swallowed hard. Too late for that. The upstairs hallway looked exactly the same. Long, narrow, 3 doors, and the one at the end, slightly open. The same room, the wall room. The air got colder as I walked toward it. My breath started to fog, and then I heard it, breathing from inside the room. Slow, heavy, not mine. I pushed the door open. The flashlight beam shook as it swept across the room. Broken furniture, cracked plaster, the same wall. Then, someone sitting in the corner, knees pulled up, head down, wearing a dark hoodie. My heart stopped. "Mason!" I whispered. The figure slowly lifted its head, and my entire body went cold. It looked like him, but something was wrong. Skin pale, lips cracked, eyes completely black. Not dark, black, like something was looking out from inside him. He smiled, too wide, too slow. Then my phone buzzed. I looked down. That's not me. I backed away instantly. The thing stood up. Its joints cracked one by one, slow, deliberate, like it was learning how to move again. Mason took a step toward me. "Ethan," it said. Perfect voice, perfect tone. That made it worse, because it almost worked. Almost. Then its jaw shifted, too far, too wide. A soft cracking sound came from its neck. Something moved under its skin, sliding. Wrong. I turned to run, but knock, knock, knock. From inside the wall, I froze. The sound was louder here, closer, more real, like something was right behind it. My phone buzzed again. "Break the wall." "What?" I whispered. Another message came instantly. "Now." The thing lunged. I grabbed a broken chair leg and swung. It hit hard. The thing slammed into the dresser. I didn't wait. I turned and smashed the chair leg into the wall. Plaster cracked. Dust exploded into the air. The thing screamed. Not human. Not even close. I hit the wall again and again until a piece broke open. Cold air rushed out, and the smell, rot, death, old. Something pale moved inside. Bones, hands, scratching toward the opening, like someone had died trying to escape. My breathing went wild. "What is this?" I whispered. Behind me, the thing stood up again, faster this time, stronger, like breaking the wall had made it worse. My phone buzzed. "Lower left, hurry." I dropped down and smashed the wall again. A brick loosened. I ripped it out and reached inside. My fingers touched something cold, metal, a chain. I pulled it out, a silver pendant. The moment I touched it, the thing screamed, louder than before. It rushed me, face changing. Mason, me, something else, something not human. I shoved the pendant forward instinctively. It touched its face, and everything stopped. Silence. Then, black smoke poured out of his mouth. His body twisted violently, like something inside him was being pulled apart. My phone buzzed. One message. "It's not trapped in the wall." Before I could react, something moved inside the hole. Not bones. A hand. Alive. And a whisper came from the darkness. "Don't let it see your face again."
The hand inside the wall was shaking. Not dead, not bones, alive. Slowly, it pulled back into the darkness. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. "Who are you?" I whispered. For a moment, Nothing answered. Then, "I'm not the first," the voice said. It was weak, dry, like someone who hadn't spoken in years. Before I could react, behind me, the thing started laughing, low, broken. Not Mason, not human. "It still thinks he's inside," it said in Mason's voice. My blood ran cold. I turned slowly. The thing was standing again, completely still, its face shifting. Mason, me, someone else, then back again, like it couldn't decide which one to wear. My phone buzzed. "Get out, now." I didn't wait. I ran, out of the room, down the hallway, the floor creaking under every step. Behind me, something dragged across the floor, fast, too fast. Mason called out, "Ethan, wait." That almost made me stop, almost. But something in the voice felt wrong now, too empty, too perfect. I ran down the stairs, nearly slipped, caught the railing, kept going. At the bottom, something caught my eye. On the mantel, a stack of photos. Clean, no dust, like someone had just placed them there. I grabbed them without thinking and ran outside. I didn't stop until I reached my car, locked the doors, hands shaking, breathing hard. Only then did I look down at the photos. Old ones, yellowed. Weller House. The upstairs room, symbols painted on the floor, the cracked wall before it was sealed, and a man standing next to it, smiling. Harold Weller. Then I saw the last photo. New, not old, clear. Mason, alive, kneeling in front of the broken wall, and behind him, someone standing, watching. Someone with my face. My hands started shaking again. I flipped the photo over. 6 words written in black marker. "It chose you before him." "No," I whispered. "That didn't make sense. It should have been Mason. He was the one who went back. He was the one who died, not me." My phone buzzed. "You went first." I froze. Then another message. "It saw you first." My mind raced, and suddenly, I remembered. We were 14, me and Mason, standing outside Weller House, laughing, daring each other to go inside. We set a cheap camera on the railing with a timer, took a photo, proof we were brave. Then we went in. Mason slipped on the stairs when we ran out, cut his hand on a nail. I helped him up, and for 1 second, we both looked back, at the window. My chest tightened. "That photo," I whispered. I searched through the stack again, found it. The old one. Me and Mason on the porch, smiling. But behind us, in the upstairs window, someone was standing, watching. Tall, still, hand pressed to the glass. And something else, something I hadn't noticed before. On the wooden porch floor, a symbol scratched into the wood, a broken circle with 3 lines. My phone buzzed again. That was the first mark. Then, blood completes it. My stomach dropped. Mason's hand, the nail, the blood. We didn't just go inside that night. We opened something. A cold wind passed through the car. I froze. The windows were closed, the doors locked. Still, I felt it. Something was wrong. I looked up slowly. The house. Weller House. Something was standing in the upstairs window, watching me. Same place, same position as in the photo. My phone buzzed again. "Leave, now." Then another message. "Go to the cemetery." I didn't argue. I started the car immediately. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror. The figure was still there. But now, it wasn't just watching. It was smiling. With my face. By the time I reached the road, another message came. St. Bartholomew Cemetery. Then, dig. The cemetery was empty. Dark. Too quiet. the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. My headlights cut across broken gravestones and dead trees. I stepped out slowly. My phone buzzed. Section C, Grave 14. I found it. A crooked headstone, covered in moss. I brushed it clean, and my breath stopped. Harold Weller. My phone buzzed one last time. He lied about the wall. And beside the grave, half buried in dirt, was a shovel, waiting for me. The shovel was already in the ground, like someone had been waiting for me, or something knew I would come. I stood there for a few seconds, staring at Harold Weller's grave, my breath visible in the cold air. Then my phone buzzed. Dig. I didn't question it anymore. I started digging. The soil was loose, too loose, like it had already been disturbed recently. That made it worse, much worse. After barely a foot, thud, the shovel hit wood, but not a coffin, a box. I dropped to my knees and pulled it out, small, wrapped in old cloth. Inside, photographs, dozens, all of Weller House, the wall, the symbols, Harold standing beside it, smiling, like it was something sacred. My hands shook as I flipped through them. Then I found it, the last photo. Mason, alive, kneeling in front of the wall, and behind him, me, smiling. No, I whispered. I flipped it. It started with you. My heart dropped. Not Mason, me. It was always me. My phone buzzed again. Harold didn't trap it. Then he fed it. Everything clicked. The wall wasn't a prison, it was a door. And Harold kept feeding people to whatever was inside, so it could grow, so it could learn, so it could become human. And the first person it ever saw clearly was me. A cold wind rushed through the cemetery. I looked up, bare footprints, fresh, leading away from the grave, toward the chapel. The door was open. I was sure it wasn't before. My phone buzzed. Don't go inside alone. Then, instantly, come inside, I'm Mason. 2 messages, same number, opposite meanings. I looked at the chapel. A figure stood in the doorway. Dark hoodie, same height, same posture. Mason? I called. Ethan, he replied. Perfect voice. My phone buzzed again. Ask him what he said before you left. What did you say to me before I moved to Chicago? I shouted. Silence. Then, you really think that matters now? The figure said. Wrong answer. My heart dropped. It stepped forward, eyes darker now, not fully black, but changing. My phone buzzed again. Run. I ran, across the cemetery, through the gate, didn't look back until I reached the road. The figure stood at the entrance, watching, not crossing, just smiling. Then it pointed at the photos in my hand. My phone buzzed. It can't leave without you bringing it something. I looked down, the photos, the pendant, the connection. I understood. Too late. That night, I went home. I shouldn't have, but I did. For hours, nothing happened. No texts, no sounds, no knocking. At 2:03 a.m., my phone buzzed. I didn't want to check, but I did. A photo. My apartment. From outside. My window. I zoomed in, and my blood turned to ice. Someone was standing inside my window, watching me. My phone buzzed again. I told you not to call me. My hands started shaking because I remembered that first night I pressed call. I let it hear me. I let it find me. A voice came from behind me, soft, close, too close. Ethan. I turned slowly. Someone was standing in my room, me, smiling. The lights went out, and in the darkness, my own voice whispered, "You still answer when I call."